This is a movie review, the 2019 movie Clemency, directed by a female black African-American director, Shinon Chukwu, and she also wrote the screenplay. The cast in the lead role is Alfred Woodard, who plays Warden Bernardine Williams. Richard Schiff plays the lawyer Marty Lumeta. Aldous Hodge plays the incarcerated inmate on death row, Anthony Woods. Wendell Pierce plays the warden's deputy. His character is Jonathan Williams. And another significant character, Alex Castillo, plays Victor Jimenez, and we witness him early on. And Jed Bernard plays the Death Watch officer. This movie received adulation and awards at these following awards ceremonies. First of all, the AARP Movies for Grown-Ups. It was nominated for movies. Best Actress for Alfred Woodard. And in the African American Film Critics Association, it won the AAFCA award as top film. And at the Black Reel Awards, which is a very highly regarded awards critics show, Black Reel was nominated for Outstanding Actress, and the Alfie Woodard again got the nomination for Outstanding Actress. Supporting actor Aldous Hodge, and it also got screenplay and director nominees for Shinon Chukwu. So certainly a movie to be seen. So to Clemency then. The movies have frequently focused on social and moral issues that capture the interest and emotions of moviegoers, and capital punishment is featured in a number of films. I recall I Want to Live, starring Susan Hayward in 1958, which dramatised the real events which led to Barbara Graham being executed in the electric chair. A chilling look at the last day of a woman's life before perishing in San Quentin prison. And then there was Dead Man Walking, released in 1995, which primary focus was on Sean Penn's character, Matthew Poncelet, a condemned murderer, and his relationship with Sister Prejean, played by Susan Sarandon. And this looked and focused on how religion and compassion helped to humanise Matthew in preparation for his execution. Both these movies focused on the condemned subject, which is usually how movies on this subject are handled. Well, now we have Clemency, which takes a completely different stance, primarily focusing on the impact the death penalty has on the warden, who's responsible for carrying out the execution for the state, and the role in providing advice, the structure, the discipline and empathy to all those involved, prison staff, the prisoners' needs and fears, the legal representation, the prisoner's family, the victim's family, the media, the execution procedure, and in some instances a hostile public demonstrating against such acts outside the walls of the prison. In Clemency, there's an added factor. The warden is a woman, and she's also Afro-American. In the movie, we witness two executions bookended at the beginning and the end. The first is for a Latino, the last is with an African American. The first at the start shows an execution that's botched, and the second at the end goes through the traumatic, emotional and tragic state that leads to the man pronouncing his innocence at his last breath, or before his last breath. So to Warden Bernadine Williams, we see a woman proud of her management, her success in reaching the top in her profession, and she's in charge of this top securities facility that has a death row, and this places major demands on her for those who live and work in the setting. The initial scene of the execution, that was harrowing, shook her enormously, and we see the toll her difficult work is taking on her marriage. She escapes the pressures briefly, drinking with her deputy, but can't relate emotionally or intimately with her teacher husband, and this leaves scars that will affect her when faced with her 12th execution. We see her trying to mix a variety of roles. With Hodges' lawyer, played by Richard Schiff, she has to be strict with the legal procedures in the face of passionate pleas for clemency to be granted by the ruling governor. We see her with staff at various levels are actively involved in the procedure for execution. And then there's family members of the prisoner. The family of the victims as well it comes into play. And of course the prison chaplain, who is present for the last hours of the prisoner's life. The film gives a glimpse of all these factors and how the pressures and stress build up for Bernadine as the time creeps forward to the execution. We see a one-on-one with Woods and the warden, where she outlines the procedures prior to the execution, last meal requests, etc. It's a matter-of-fact monologue which epitomises the coldness of it all. In contrast, we also see Bernadine having a nightmare as she imagines the next execution and problems with the equipment. She also listens to testimony regarding Wood's case in her car and discusses it with her husband, and clearly the court guilty verdict and sentence don't sit easily with her. Also, Wood's emotional turmoil is shown vividly when he has to be restrained for repeatedly head-butting a wall when told about his appeal failing sometime earlier. Others are also caught up in the emotionally draining impact of capital punishment. Even Bernadine's husband has to escape from the home, exhausted by the tension and demeanour of his wife. The assigned death watch person also has to be replaced at short notice. He is not coping at all. And there's also an issue about finding a replacement to cope with this responsibility, as the devastation imminent is due. And then the visit from Woods' girlfriend, the mother of his son, who hasn't seen him since his arrest and hasn't told their son where his father is. In fact, it's probable that he doesn't know he has a father. The scene when they meet is so charged with emotional pain, particularly Woods's. This is raw emotion and very impressive in the context of a movie setting. You can't fail to be affected by it. For Bernadine, she has to meet the parents of the victim as well, and they demand to be present at the execution. It's very much a pound of flesh mentality, and she struggles to deal with this, explaining the rules with regard to who can be present and who can't. And it's a reflection of the power of vengeance, that these people are so bitter and want to get their just rewards to see this man die in front of them. The most striking quality, however, within the film is Bernadine's reaction to happenings, and we see the emotional strengths and frailties in abundance as the sentence draws close
Bernadine appears to be trying to strip herself of any emotion and just wants to do the job dictated by the state. A governor giving clemency is a remote thought, and let's not forget Woods, who at one point discharges tears and then rage within minutes of learning that his visitors aren't coming. And as the final frames are witnessed, the director shifts the focus to the pain in the face of the warden as her own emotional wreckage is exposed as one paralysed by the event. In summary, I was very impressed with this movie, Clemency. A different emphasis, aware of the importance of the others, and not focusing on the prisoner facing death throughout. And I thought this was one aspect to it which I was very impressed with, and how these sort of barbaric events affect all who are in close proximity to her. Alfred Woodward's performance was of considerable empathy and a quality portrayal of an official involved in this barbaric procedure. Get to see it. It's Clemency, and it was released in 2019.